Yes, hello, Carol.
I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you very much. Um, and this I'm not sure how to say this or if it will even come out right, you know. Um, but I'm noticing if I just stay totally present in the moment and ego is dropped and I'm just paying attention as awareness rather than as uh, individual, I seem to just be experiencing things like a great big kaleidoscope that just keeps changing on its own. And I'm trying to just watch the kaleidoscope, watch the movie unfolding, you know. And then ego kicks in and says, "Well, what do we have for dinner here?" you know, and who is who is choosing? And how is it that I'm not just having Rice Krispies for dinner every night? It certainly seems like it's me picking out healthy things to eat. Do you know what I mean? So there's a
Yes,
dichotomy there. It's confusing.
yes, yes. When you're abiding as presence or as awareness, meaning, for example, right now, awareness is the images appear. For example, right now, there is this screen, this perception, or there may be a thought that appears to you, right? So the use the term kaleidoscope, I would say that there are images, thoughts, perceptions, and bodily sensations that arise within awareness, right? So that's a movement. A movement. I mean, thought caused by another thought or a sensation, then different sensation. There is the movement, which are like the images on the screen, right? But the screen of awareness doesn't move. There is the movement, which is the perceptions, the sensations, the thoughts. And there is the non-movement. The non-movement is awareness, what we refer to as awareness or consciousness or being. Yes. It's just to be clear about that, that there is an aspect in your experience in this moment. There are words that you're hearing, they're constantly changing while I'm speaking. And there is the awareness that the reality which perceives, the reality which hears, which is not changing, right? So then the question is, who chooses? How come I'm choosing, to have a salad instead of having rice krispies or whatever? Yes, it feels and it seems that I am choosing, right?
Yep.
We all know that I'm choosing. I chose to have a vanilla ice cream instead of chocolate ice cream, right? But the point to be clear about is that this I that chose, that chooses, is not a personal limited I. Because when you ask yourself right now, what is the I that is hearing these words? Obviously, this I is present. I'm hearing these words, right? What is this I? You don't find you don't find something inside your brain or something behind your head or something inside your body that is hearing these words. You cannot deny the hearing, right? Because the hearing is going on and there's no doubt that I am hearing. But when you explore what is this I which is hearing these words, you will find that I is real, it's undeniable. I'm not going to deny that I hear these words, but you don't find a limited I. There is an I, but there are no location. There isn't a location to this I. This I, which is hearing these words, is not a female I or a male I. course, we're not denying that the body is female rather than a male body, but we're talking about the reality which hears, that the I which hears. The I which hears in this moment is not a female or a male I. It's not a tall or a short I. It's not located in a specific location. It doesn't have a beginning or an ending. So there is no conundrum there. Yes, I choose, I perceive, I choose. But this I is not a limited I. It's not, there isn't a mortal entity. There isn't a personal self. There is just the self, what we refer to as consciousness or awareness. In some, in Buddhism, they refer to it as the big mind. In some cases, they refer to it as the self with a capital S. In our conversations, we refer to this I as consciousness or awareness, right? There's no need to deny I, because what would deny I would deny myself. I denies I. No. I knows it is. I know I am. I know I perceive. But we confuse I to be a personal mind. You see? We confuse consciousness with the mind. We give reality to the mind. We give power to the mind, personal mind, thoughts, perceptions, sensations. And we overlook the reality of consciousness, which is this transparent, formless, aware presence right now. The invisible reality which perceives and yet is not perceived. Now, sometimes we experience a sense of being limited or a feeling of being limited. But that sense of being limited appears within limitless awareness. Then the question is, which are you? Are you the limitless awareness which perceives the sense of being limited? Or are you the sense of being limited, which you are perceiving, which awareness is perceiving, or which is appearing in awareness? Which one are you? Are you the body mind which you perceive? Are you the sensations which you perceive, the bodily sensations which you perceive? Or are you the perceiving aspect? Are you the form which is appealing to you? Or are you the formless reality which perceives the form?
Seems to be simultaneous.
Well,
I don't know if that's the right word.
It's okay. If you perceive that you are the perceiving element and simultaneously you are everything which is perceived, that is fine. Because everything that the perceiving element perceives is not separate
That's
from
right.
from the perceiving element. In other words, the perceived is not separate from the perceiver. Yes. So if your experience is that I am the formless awareness, and at the same time I am everything, that is fine.
Woo, oh, that's good.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh my.
Yes. Sometimes our experience is I am the perceiving element and I am is the separate body. I am not the rest of that which I perceive. I am just this particular body mind which I perceive. But if your experience is that I am the perceiving element and simultaneously I am the body, I'm the world, I'm the sky, I'm the universe, I'm the oceans, yes, that's perfect.
I thank you. In this past week, I had a suspicious mammogram, and, and they had to do a needle biopsy on me. The whole thing was frightening and painful. And at the same time, I felt like I was just gently taking care of this body and doing what I needed to do. And it turned out to be nothing. And I don't think I'm like disjointed from my own perceptions. I think it was just having the ability to just gently do what I needed to do, using mind and perception as a tool to take care of this body as I'm going along here as I am, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes there are certain situations where your attention gets focused or needs to focus on a certain aspect of your experience, such as the experience you just shared with me. And that makes sense at that time for the mind to focus in order to be able to have all the resources, the mental resources, the clarity to how to deal with that situation. That's not a problem.
No.
When you notice that the gauge on your car, the fuel gauge is low, then you become very alert. Where is the next gas station, right? That makes perfect sense. That's not an issue.
Well, except we have a lot more emotion involved with our bodies when we get sick than we do with our gas tank getting low. I think. Well, I do. You know.
Well, so we all know the body. Like Francis says, nobody dies healthy, right? So we know that about the body, you know. So
yeah.
There is no need for negative emotions around that. We just do our best with the body. We do our best to alleviate the pain that arises in the body, the various situations with the body, like we do with our car, you see. We do the best. We know that sooner or later, the destiny of our car is the junkyard. Nonetheless, we do the best we can to have the car running for as long and as safely as possible. So we can deal with the body in the same way that we deal with our car. There is no need for any emotion.
Well, sometimes that's a little easier said than done, but I get what you're saying.
It is. It seems challenging to do when we are identified with the body. There are some people that if you touch their car, they're gonna sue you. You know, you touch my car, you see, because they have some identity with their car, you see.
Oh yeah.
It's very difficult for them to have somebody lean against their car. or put their hands, on their car because the car is so nicely polished, you say. Yes, you're right. It is difficult to do. It's easier said than done when we are identified with the body. So it's important to contemplate and to explore what is my reality. Is my reality the body? Or is my reality consciousness, awareness, the reality which perceives bodily sensations? Which perceives. Right. So the more you become, the clearer you become about your nature. Otherwise, the less you are identified with the false me, the easier it is for you to deal with your body the best you can, but mechanistically, so to speak, doing the best you can, seeking the best nutrition, the best, some exercise and some social interaction, but no need to identify. You have to explore that. You have to live the understanding that we are speaking about.
Thank you.
Okay, Clara. That's the. Hi, Magdi. Any questions?
So, Magdi.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, this is Bob.
Yes, hi, Bob.
Hi, everybody. So, I was wondering, you said, well, there's no need to bring stuff from the past into your future, into the present, but I was wondering, bringing the past stuff into my present is not something I'm consciously, choosing to do. It just happens. The past intrudes. So, what is your advice in terms of how to manage those intrusions, or some practice to reduce those intrusions of the past into the present?
Yes. So first, I don't use the term intrusion, just to, because when somebody's intruding, you want to take a club and you want to hit them on the head, it depends. There are unfriendly intrusions, but so a certain memory appears to you, and it's not that you're actually going out in the archives and digging it out. It sort of appears to you in a way out of, let's say, God's will or the universal will. You have to take a look at what you do with it when it appears. When something from the past appears, it appears with an awareness. It appears in the eternal now. How do you approach it? What do you do with it? Do you engage psychologically with it? You try to justify yourself? Do you try to blame somebody for the event that this memory is evoking? What do you do? Now, there are some thoughts that arise to you. Keep in mind, Bob, that whatever arises to you is always arising to you freshly in the moment. The thought may arise to you, oh, shoot, did I when I was cooking some pasta, did I turn off the gas? And one could say this is a thought about the past. Yes, it is. It is a thought about the past, but it's a relevant thought about the past because it's inviting you to go to the kitchen and take a look at whether you did turn off the gas, which is very important. Now, there are some thoughts that arise to you about, why did so and so did this to me? I was very nice to them, and they were really considerate. They did not respond to me with certain friendship or friendliness. Why did they do this to me? They're really stupid. I've always been good, and there's no reason for them to be bad. Blah blah blah. And this is a spin. There is a spin that we may engage in, which, if you pay attention, it depends. Just speaking theoretically, which may have in it the purpose of justifying your position, defending your position, blaming somebody, regretting something you've done. And of course, sometimes something from the past arises to you about something that you've done that was inconsiderate towards somebody else. And you realize, boy, that was really stupid for me to act that way. You may or you may not end up picking up the phone and making a phone call and saying, oh, gee, I just realized I acted towards you in an inconsiderate way, and I'd like to apologize. Or you may not. It depends on the specific circumstance. So in the meditation, Bob, when I invite us to come to presence and not to try to fix the past or try to resolve anything from the past or bringing the past into the present moment, it is simply an exercise. I'm not encouraging people to live this way. It's not possible to live without the past. You need to remember where your house is in order to drive to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't know where to drive. You need to remember and know where the keys of your car are. Otherwise, you wouldn't know how to, be able to drive your car. But as an exercise, the invitation is to connect with something besides the mind, to connect with being, with presence. Because the mind appears within presence, within awareness, in memory about the past. There's something planned for the future. These thoughts appear within presence. And we have a tendency to overlook presence and to be very wrapped up in the mind, in what appears on the screen. So in the meditations, the idea is to become connected with presence, with being. And in time, as you're dipping yourself in the meditations more and more frequently, you will find that this presence will start to expand in your life. In the middle of your activities, in the middle of your work, you will find that this peaceful presence will expand in your life. Now, you use the word intrusion, Bob. And there is only one intruder. And the intruder is me. The belief that I am Bob. Yes, the body is Bob. I want to be clear about that. There is a male body, and your lovely parents chose the name, Bob, to the body. So the body's name is Bob, but you are not Bob. The car may be an Audi, such and such a model, such and such a year, but you are not the car. And the car is not the Audi. The car is actually, it's not the name Audi, which is the car. The name Audi is just a name for a car. The car is a complex of various systems that are operating together in a certain way to create propulsion. That is the intruder in your thoughts, in your sensations. The intruder is I, believing yourself to be Bob, believing yourself to be the body mind, which is the mortal, right? The body mind is mortal. The car also, 40 years, I don't know what would happen to that car. When you identify yourself with that intruder, with the false self of I am Bob, I am the body mind, then there are all sorts of worries and concerns about the body mind. Is the body mind healthy? Is the body mind lovable? Is the body mind intelligent enough, etc.? Is the body mind going to live for another 20 years? Is the body mind going to be safe, etc.? The intruder is the identification with your body mind. And all psychological suffering are a result of identification. We love identification. We identify with a religious group, with a political group, with a family. We identify with in so many different ways. Meaning consciousness is identifying itself in a certain manner with a certain object. And as a result of this identification, consciousness experiences the sense of separation, the fear of ending, and the sense of lack. Sometimes the question arises, is it possible to live without identification? It's a good question. We need to explore this question. Do I need to identify myself as Magdi in order to have this conversation with you? I don't think so. I don't need to have any identification. Separates me from anything, from anybody and anything. Identification is extra. It's an unhappy addition in our experience. Now, is it possible for you to be a good father, a good parent, a good partner, a good employee without identification? It's a good question. Do I need to be identified as a great guy, in order to do my job? I don't know. I don't think so. I could do my job perfectly without being identified as identifying myself. I don't know how other people are identifying me. That's their business. But identifying myself as a great guy, a smart guy, or whatever, who needs that? You don't need that. Because then you have to constantly live up to this identification. And who needs it? Sometimes simplicity is much more harmonious for myself and for everybody. The humility, a certain innocence. So it's more like a letting go process, like a dropping all the unnecessary luggage. Because it is us who are carrying the luggage, but it's pain in the butt. I am not against the past. We cannot live without the past. Memory, of course. I remember my parents. I know who my wife is. But it's that intruder, me. I exist in the past. No, I have never existed in the past. I know it sounds radical, but take a look at it. There is a past to the body. I mean, this body wasn't always, when I was 72 years old, it was, at what time it was 12, maybe 15, and whatever. There is a past to the body. There is a past to the earth. But I have never existed in the past. I've never been in the past. I've never experienced the past. It's always consciousness.